Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Authentic and the Beard. That best television show thing is kind of irking me. Shout out to my dog Timmy Foosball one time, man. But yeah, the best television show not on TV. We got a awesome week in the NFC East. A big week, a pivotal week here in Week 9. It's crazy. The season is already flying by. We got the 49ers traveling to MetLife to take on the New York Giants. We got the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Washington, D.C. to take on those Washington Commanders. You got the Arizona Cardinals traveling to Jerry World to take on the Dallas Cowboys and a red-hot Dak Prescott, but a ice-cold Dallas Cowboys defense. And then tonight on Thursday Night Football, we got the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson back in the lineup taking on the Miami Dolphins. Philadelphia Eagles are on a bye this week. All three NFC East teams have home field advantage, and boy, do we fucking need it, man, because we all need a victory in the best division in football. So without further ado, let me bring in my brother from another mother. Shout out to my Dukes one time. The Beard is in the building. Beard, I actually watched your game last week against the Kansas City Chiefs at the bar, local bar around the way with a bunch of Commanders fans, and seemed like a game that y'all were right in at the beginning of that one, and then as soon as that interception popped off of Deebo Samuel's hands, things kind of went left. How you feeling about your performance last week and how that will trickle into this week a little bit without letting the cat out the bag too much?
Well, I mean, listen, this is the injury reserve podcast now, apparently. So that game hurt more than I think a lot of games. And I feel like I say that a lot this year. You know, just Terry coming back, making two big catches, and then the groin injury is back, and he's out for this week. You know, the defense finally getting some turnovers. Patrick Mahomes has never in his entire career thrown two interceptions on the first two possessions ever. Like, that's the first time that's ever happened. And our kicker pulled a New York Giants, Graham Gano. And,
it's good to know we're not the only ones.
No, you're not the only ones. And so, like, that played a big role. And, you know, then we were in Kansas City territory the entire first half.
Yeah.
But we scored 7 points.
Yeah,
so it was like
points on the board.
It just not being able to take advantage of those early success stories that we had in the first half. And in the second half,
Marcus Mariota kind of outplayed Patrick Mahomes in that game. I mean, I know the box score might not indicate that with the two interceptions from each of them, but we all know that the one popped off of Debo's hands and whatnot. So, I mean, I think Marcus gives you guys a pretty good chance, but not a lot of options, man, on that offense when you're dealing with all those injuries.
Yeah, and the running game's not working right now, and we're going to talk about that obviously today. And it's just everything that could go wrong went wrong. You know, you're 7-7. Basically, you're in the game in the half, and then the second half, it was like the defense kind of switched from man to zone. We weren't getting the pressures anymore. You know, Jacob Martin looked fantastic at times. There was some really bad officiating in that game on both sides of the ball.
Welcome to our world, man. Welcome to our world.
And you know, I rarely really ever use that line, but man, it was bad. There was just bad officiating. The right tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs got away with about 17 holding calls. I'm like, what am I watching? And then the virtual measurement, can we throw that out the window?
I'm not a fan.
What are we doing? You can't even challenge that. So, like, it was just, there was a lot of bad stuff. But listen, I'm not one to make excuses. You had opportunities. You didn't take advantage of those opportunities. And when you do that against a better team, you're going to lose the game. Patrick Mahomes threw all three of his touchdowns came on plays where he had to extend the plays. Like,
we talked about that on the preview show, man, when he has to scramble, how well he is playing this year.
So 4 seconds to throw on those, 4+ seconds to throw on all three of those touchdown passes. And it just, the recipe wasn't there. And, you know, like you turn the ball over, you don't capitalize on turnovers, you don't run the ball, and you lose football games. And we lost Laramie Tunsil also in that game. It was questionable, did not practice on Wednesday. You know, Newton also, the penalty where he tossed Patrick Mahomes, it was barely anything, but you know, Patrick Mahomes is going to get those calls. And
it was excessive, but it wasn't that rough. But you guys cost me a fantasy victory as well, because I had Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Zach Ertz, and Harrison Butker going into that Monday night game down by 16. I couldn't get 16 points from three players and ended up losing by like 10 points. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, that's my dog. But yeah, man, it's been a tough fantasy football wise. Every week he's projected for 10 to 12 to 13 points, and it just seems like he never gets there. But we're definitely going to get to that when we break down the Washington game. Looking forward to talking about this New York Giants matchup because this is one that the New York Giants absolutely have to find a way to win. That was the same case as last week as well. But let's get right into it, man. We got the 49ers who are kind of banged up in their own right as well, traveling to MetLife to take on the New York Giants.
From the jump. In New York City right now is Cam Scatterford.
It's too beautiful out here, wasting opportunity. Come on, inside the tone for the first down. Just go ahead. Let's go and fight for each other. Here we go.
Drive from 15 yards out in his first start gives the Giants the lead.
That's a God.
No, the expectation every time we step on the field to win. Every rep in practice, every one-on-one, it don't matter. The expectation's to win.
Every time I hear Brian Dable say that's our fucking guy, the hairs literally just stand up, man. It's just I don't know, because that's a guy that I'm very invested in, man. And Jackson Dart has definitely been balling out, and he's going to have a tall task here going up against the San Francisco 49ers, coming into MetLife with a 5-3 record. They're favored by 2.5 in this game. Over-under is 48.5. Jackson Dart, man, NFL Rookie of the Month, man. I love that. I saw that news today when I logged into my account, and I was just like, this is amazing stuff. So hopefully we can find a way to capitalize off that because last week we didn't. The Eagles beat the New York Giants 38-20. The 49ers coming in off a loss to the Texans 26-15. And the 49ers have been a really shaky team. Since week 3, the 49ers have gone basically win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. Win versus Arizona, a loss versus the Jacksonville Jaguars who, man, they had a great spark when they started too. They beat the Rams. That's a very impressive W on the year. Lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A win versus the Atlanta Falcons, who really are not living up to the expectations of the team that people thought they were going to be, and a loss this last week versus the Houston Texans. The Giants are coming off of back-to-back losses, Denver and Philly, and New York has not had a winning streak all year long. I just want to get 2 games. Y'all know I'm all about consistency. If you've been paying attention to what's been going on Twitter, you guys know we've been having a lot of consistency conversations, right? And I'm just looking for the New York Giants to just get on track, at least for one stretch of this season, and find a way to win back-to-back games. Playoffs are likely out of the question right now, but the Giants' chances can go from 2% to 3% with the win. So
hey, every percent counts, my friend.
Every percent counts, as the Beard says. Last meeting, the 49ers beat the Giants 30-12 in 2023. That game was actually over there in San Francisco. I remember that game really well. We were kind of hanging around in that game late until about the third quarter, fourth quarter. We ended up folding a little bit. Brock Purdy, still limited in practice, looking like he's not going to play in this one, so it's probably going to be Mac Jones, who is definitely a capable quarterback. I would say at this moment in time, one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league, but he has tailed off a little bit the last 2 weeks. Started off 3 touchdowns, no interceptions versus the Saints in a W, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions versus the Rams in a W. But Mac Jones has an interception in 3 of his last 4 games. 2 of those games, he had 0 touchdowns, 3 straight games with a passer rating under 85, and the 49ers have lost 2 of their last 3 games. Third down is going to be extremely important. I was going to leave this category for the Beard, but I had to at least pull this one nugget for third down. The 49ers have gone 3 and out on 56% of their drives in Week 8. That was the worst in Week 8 in all of the NFL. For Jackson Dart, this is a simple game plan for me. You already know you're missing basically every playmaker you've had. This is, offensive line that has been playing much better with this particular quarterback at the helm. Missing Neighbors, missing Scatterboo. Just do not play too much hero ball. I want to see Jackson Dart play a little bit more within the structure of the offense. I think that's something that he's really lacked this year. You know, a lot of people are kind of, jumping the gun and thinking that he's very similar to the former quarterback that was here where it's just one read and run. But I think that Jackson Dart is just lacking the weapons, and the minimal weapons that he had there, they're all looking like they're injured. So I want to see him play a little bit more within structure, take care of the ball. Dart, we talked about the every other type of win for the San Francisco 49ers. Jackson Dart has a turnover in every other start this year. So definitely want to see him clean that up. And I think he's going to, I think he's likely to have to use his legs in this game on Sunday as well. We talked about this on the Giant Overreaction. Dart is the second quarterback since 1950 with a touchdown pass and a touchdown rush in 4 of his first 5 career starts joining Cam Newton. So that's definitely a good look. The other part is we need a wide receiver to step up. Darius Slayton has been
MIA.
That's all reliable. He's been on the back of a milk carton the entire year, and when he's on the field or when he's, not producing on the field, he's injured. So it's been tough. I'd love for this to be a game where Darius Slayton could show up and make some plays. This is the other thing I will say, because I'm not somebody that's going to just make it all rainbows and unicorns for the quarterback that I absolutely adore for the New York Giants, right? On a lot of these deep passes, you're seeing Darius Slayton have to throttle down, and in return, that's what's causing him to push off down the field. The big offensive pass interference call that we had last week, granted, it wouldn't have saved the game, but it would have put some more points on the board. A lot of that is happening because Jackson Dart is not setting his feet in the pocket when he's throwing the ball deep. This is the NFL. You can't get away with that shit. You got to set your feet, get your base underneath you, and get that ball out there. Now, we saw on the opposite end, we saw with Jalen Hyatt where he overthrew Jalen Hyatt. So this is all about just building the chemistry and making sure that the deep shots down the field are successful, which Jackson Dart has not had, a lot of success here in the regular season doing so. Wan'Dale Robinson has been a bit inconsistent, but I don't think that's on the fault of his own. I think that he's not supposed to have all of this responsibility on his shoulders as the leading wide receiver for the New York Giants right now. He's on pace for 1,000 yards right now, so I think he's playing pretty good. Jalen Hyatt, he was out of practice this past week, got his wisdom teeth pulled, so I'm not expecting too much on that front. A lot of people are speculating if he was maybe going to get traded by the deadline. We're just 5 days away from the deadline, so all these things, all these answers we're looking for, they're going to be here in a second. But for me, Beard, the New York Giants cannot continue to keep trying to rely on 12 and 13 personnel throughout the entirety of the game. Not only is it limiting the play calling abilities of Mike Kafka and Brian Dable, but I think that teams are starting to catch on to what we like to do, which is throw the ball to the tight end position now, because we just don't have the wide receivers on the outside. So for me, I think Tyrone Tracy, maybe even a little bit of Devin Singletary, these guys are going to have to step up and try to support their quarterback in this game.
It's going to be interesting. I will tell you right now, there's going to be a little bit of a theme to the Beard show today, okay? And you can see it visually already, okay?
And we did not coordinate this.
We did not coordinate this, but I'm sure great minds think alike, and we're like, it's legacy
Facts.
uniforms, right?
Facts.
This has to be a Jackson Dart legacy game.
Love it.
Okay, listen, Cam Scatterboo, gone. Malik Neighbors, gone. Everybody else, they're here, but they're gone. Okay? This is going to be on Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's going to have a legacy game. Now, you talked about some of the turnovers, right? The 49ers, when it comes to turnovers, they only have 1 interception all year long. And that came last week That came last week against CJ Stroud, who, by the way, was 30 of 39 for 318 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that 1 interception without Nico Collins. So there is some opportunity here for Jackson Dart to have a legacy game. Now, there are some interesting things. You talked about third down, this is going to be even crazier on top of your craziness of the third down of how bad they were San Francisco 49ers last week. Even with that bad of a week, they still have the third best third down offense in the National Football League.
That's crazy.
46.4% conversion rate on third downs. New York Giants aren't bad defensively necessarily on third downs. They're 13th in the league, 13th best third down defensive percentage at 37.1%. So they're going to need to be able to perform at that, because that's going to be very key. Also, what's going to be very key is getting to Mac Jones. You got to make Mac Jones uncomfortable. You talked about some of those interceptions. Between Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, who, by the way, got the bag and has been hurt all year, but nobody's talking about him like they're talking about Terry McLaurin. I'm just going to throw that one out there. Just a little, lofty one right there. Because Brock Purdy is injured a lot. That's just part of the game,
I'll give
right?
you that. I'll give you that. Different positions, but I'll give it to you.
Between him and Mac Jones, they have 9 interceptions on the year, which is the third most in the National Football League.
9 through 8. Yeah, that's basically a little bit more than 1 a game.
That's an opportunity for the New York Giants
already, actually, too.
Yeah, that's an opportunity for the New York Giants. The New York Giants are going to have to force some turnovers in this game, okay? Now, they struggle at doing that. They have forced the 4th fewest turnovers in the NFL with only 5, okay? But the 49ers, in their losses, they have a -5 turnover differential. 6 turnovers, 1 takeaway, and that first takeaway came last week. So in those 3 losses, They turn the ball over a lot. So if the New York Giants want to win this game, they're going to have to force some turnovers. That's going to be very, very important. The San Francisco 49ers do allow the 11th most passing yards in the NFL at 229.3. Jackson Dart, this is your opportunity for a legacy game. The only other thing that the New York Giants really need to be concerned about in this game, which is probably one of the most important things, is going to be Christian McCaffrey. Okay, he's already over 1,000 scrimmage yards this year.
Yep.
But what's interesting is that the 49ers, and this is something you don't really correlate with the 49ers, especially over the past couple of years with Kyle Shanahan, is their running yards per game is 30th in the NFL. They are only averaging 89.4 yards per game. So if you can find a way to force some turnovers, find a way to make Mac Jones uncomfortable, contain, I'm not going to say stop, but contain Christian McCaffrey.
Exact word I used.
Okay.
Yes, bro.
Then you can find a way to get to maybe a victory here.
I do agree. When I started off the notes for this show, it always starts with RTDB. And I kind of questioned it this time, and I said, or does it, right? Giants rush defense has been fucking pathetic. Let's keep it real, okay? They're 30th right now in rushing yards allowed per game, 148.9. And they're 32nd, dead last in the NFL in yards per carry at 5.7 yards per carry. The other thing is, you talked about third down and the New York Giants not being that bad. I would say more from a pass defending standpoint, because running the ball, teams are having a lot of success against the New York Giants on third down. They're averaging 6.6 yards per carry on third down. Our opponents are averaging over 6 yards per carry in both the third and fourth quarters as well, which is the highest of any quarters for the New York Giants. And Justin Pennick said this on his podcast just a couple of days ago, that Giants opponents are averaging 7.9 yards per carry when they're rushing outside the tackle. So you're talking about 8 yards on basically outside zone runs. We're definitely struggling tackling on the outside, but I think the one thing that points the New York Giants' direction about this is that this game is at MetLife, where the Giants are allowing just 110 rushing yards per game, but it is over a small. What do we talk about when we talk about a small span? How do you say it again?
Small sample size along those lines somewhere.
Yeah, it's one of them joints. Small sample size of a large portion of whatever the beard says, right? Because it's only been 3 games, and the Beard talked about how San Francisco is struggling to run the ball. Christian McCaffrey only has just one 100-yard game on the season, but don't let that fool you. The scrimmage yards is what is important for this offense for CMC. Until last week, he was on a streak of 7 straight games with at least 100 scrimmage yards in every one of his games to start the season. And McCaffrey has also been the leader in receiving yards in 2 games. This nugget right here, there's going to be extra emphasis on our linebackers in this game in a major way. And also on the pass rush. I know a lot of people have been complaining about the secondary, but these are 3 units that all need to lend help to the other unit so that they can all function properly. The 49ers have targeted running backs 27% of the time. They have 80 pass attempts on 299 pass plays, 80 of them going to the running back this season. So that is the highest in the NFL. The NFL league average right now is teams are targeting their running backs at 17%. But the San Francisco 49ers are targeting them 10% more than that. So I think that, we've seen all of the news come out this week about the linebackers. We looked at the tape. Darius Muasau has been extremely struggling filling in for Micah McFadden. And there's really no sign that Micah McFadden's going to be back anytime soon. So extra emphasis is going to be on this defensive line to go out there, plug up some holes, fill some gaps, stop the run. We did see Carl Banks come out this week and criticize Dexter Lawrence's play. It's been the talk of the town on Twitter outside of some of my Daniel Jones stances, right? And Carl Banks said, your opponents don't respect you. Speaking to Dexter Lawrence. And although I think that was maybe not the right choice of words, I do think that the message is what is more important. I think that Carl Banks is trying to motivate Dexter Lawrence. We all know that Dexter Lawrence, when he's lined up over the center at the nose tackle position, he's the best in the league. He might be the best the NFL has ever seen. But when you move him around, and this season, he has played a lot less snaps at nose tackle. I believe it's right around somewhere around 40%. And a lot of his numbers have regressed. And Dexter Lawrence responded a day later when Pat Leonard asked him about the comments from Carl Banks, and he said, Carl Banks is delusional. He said, I don't know what he's watching, speaking of the tape. And he even rolled his eyes. And I don't want to disrespect Dexter Lawrence, but I think as a professional, when you are in front of the media, when somebody in the media, which is what Carl Banks is, criticizes you, you still got to remain professional. And just the whole eye-rolling thing and coming off the statements that Dexter Lawrence had said a couple of weeks ago when the New York Giants defense failed in the fourth quarter against the Denver Broncos, allowing 33 points, he looked straight into the camera and said, it's the same people calling the same plays. But now when somebody criticizes your game, you're not taking it the same way. Shane Bowen didn't come up to the podium and say, Dexter Lawrence is fucking delusional. You feel me, right? Carl Banks is from the old school, right? I'm an 80s baby, and you are as well, and we know about old school as well, but Carl Banks is even, our OG. Carl Banks played ball when we were kids, watching him play ball in those rivals against Washington in the 80s. And plenty of coaches say shit like that, right? Like I've had coaches say stuff like, yo, they don't respect you on the other side. Go get your respect. That's basically what Carl Banks is trying to tell him.
Well, let me ask you this, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because there's that aspect of it. And then when you add the part about Dexter saying, the film, right? I wonder how much of that word of respect, right? When I hear respect also, and I hear it in correlation to a defensive lineman, I start to think about double teams.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
I wonder what the percentage is.
It's very similar.
It's very similar this year to last year. Okay.
Yes, and I do encourage everybody, if you need the clip, hit me up on Twitter. I'll send you the clip. I thought Bobby did a fantastic job of breaking down all of the numbers through Dexter Lawrence's 3 years here with Brian Daboll as the head coach. And he talked about how his pressure rate's kind of regressing a little bit. And I'm paraphrasing here, and I don't want to mess up the stats, but he basically talked about how Dexter Lawrence's numbers are showing that there is a bit of a regression from at least a number standpoint. Now, I'm glad you brought up the double team thing because for me, right, the double team thing doesn't necessarily mean that they respect you. They respect you enough to double team you. I understand that part of it, right? There is validity to that. But I look at it like this, right? Like it's just like putting an extra lock on the door, right? Just because I put an extra lock on the door, it just means that I know how to stop you from breaking into my house. Teams have figured out now how to nullify Dexter Lawrence's game, and that is double teaming him. You'd be a damn fool to go out there and allow a center to go one-on-one against Dexter Lawrence. Yeah. So I understand both sides of the coin where people are saying, well, how do they not respect him if they're double teaming him? I just think that that's being prepared for somebody at the end of the day. And I think that it's loosely based on a statement that Carl Banks said, right? Like, I don't think he's talking about respect like people are looking at like Dexter Lawrence like, bro, you're fucking dog shit. I don't think it's like that. It's just that they're not looking at you as that game wrecker player that a lot of people thought you were. Like, what are your thoughts on the respect part of that?
I think it's interesting because I feel like that kind of happened here in D.C. with Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne, right? Like, there was a lot of that sort of similarities. Obviously not necessarily like, previous, player who now covers the team coming out and saying that. But I feel like there was a lot of that going on, too, with those two guys. And I think that's something that's common along the defensive front. I agree with you. I don't think Carl Banks meant any disrespect. It's funny how we're using disrespect
in a statement where he said they don't respect you.
I don't think he meant.
Because if you go off the words, I mean, I understand the vocabulary, right? He said they don't respect you, my dog.
But I think also you got with stuff like that, you got to look at tone. You got to take things with a grain of salt. Stuff like that. I'm more of the old school sort of, like. And I'm sure there, from what if I'm not mistaken, from what I was reading on Twitter, there's a lot of people who were kind of like, there was some conversations about that in comparison to the other guy who made the Kayvon Thibodeau comments last year.
Yeah, Sal Licata, who said,
and I think those are night and day in my opinion.
I talked to Monty from He's a Giant about that. Monty was kind of saying the same thing, and I kind of gave him a little pushback. Like, I think that they are very different because Sal Licata was saying, like, what does Kayvon Thibodeau even do?
Yeah,
he was like, this is the guy that's like laying on the pile at the end of the game. Yeah.
That was a little bit more disrespectful. With Carl Banks, I feel like he's a guy who played on the defensive side of the ball. And like, it's just, I feel like you have to be more of an old school.
I want to say that was in a year where Kayvon Thibodeau was the double-digit sack leader for the New York Giants too. That was the crazy part about that.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, I do think that, like, as people that are kind of in the media, I guess we cover teams and we talk ball and whatnot. I think that people want to hear what they want to hear. That's really what it is. And when something goes against whether it be their narrative or their opinion, that's when you start to see the things of like, oh man, fuck the media. But like, even as somebody within media coverage, I rely on the media. Like, I need to know what Jordan Renan and Pat Leonard and Dan Duggan are asking the New York Giants in the locker room. I need to know what Carl Banks and how he feels from his perspective of being in the New York Giants facility. And I think we learn a lot from that. But I'm also somebody that, like, I can pick and choose what to learn from. Like, if there's something that, I feel, that rubs me the wrong way, but there's some validity to it, then maybe I won't give you pushback on it. But I agree with you. I do think that these two things were totally different standpoints. And I do think that this should light a fire under Dexter Lawrence. You imagine somebody telling you that the other players on the field don't respect you, right? You're going to go out there and try to earn your fucking respect. So I'm for it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like, how many people who are, interacting in modern day social media may not understand that, which is weird because they should, but like, I just, for me, it's definitely more of a motivational, like, hey, come on, like, they not respecting you, which just means obviously that they did respect you, and obviously he's giving you your flowers by the tense in which the comment was portrayed in. So, it's just basically like, dude, go out there and, we need you right now more than ever. Like, you are our guy, right?
Yeah.
Because we obviously they're dropping like flies left and right here for the New York Giants on the offensive side of the ball. So the defense is going to need to step up. And we talked about how important that is in the game plan for the New York Giants. And so I think that, it'd be interesting if he comes out there and has like a monster
like
game,
a career game.
Yeah, and then he goes into the locker room and he's like, "Are they respecting me now, Carl?"
Yeah, and what Carl Banks is going to be like. Yeah, I mean that you keep playing like that, you're going to keep getting your respect, man. That's a fact.
Listen,
so before we get off into the scores, because me and the Beard did have a conversation backstage before we went live, and I kind of got the insinuation that the Beard might be picking the New York Giants.
Go Jam.
Kind of got the situation for me that I might be picking the New York Giants. But before we do that, let's get to a couple of super chats real quick.
Okay.
And then we'll get off into our score predictions, because I see some people talking about some stuff in real time, and I definitely want to bring up some of these super chats as well. Let's start right here.
Big shout out to Lou. Lou who? Lou Mateo, 4534 with a $5 super chat. Says, this is how you know coaching sucks. This should come from coaching, not Carl Banks coaching. Ain't telling him shit. With that said, Dex needs to man up and take the criticism.
I totally agree with that last statement right there. The part about the coaching that, I don't have a finger on is that I don't know what Brian Dable is telling Dexter Lawrence behind closed doors, right? We do know what Carl Banks is saying about Dexter Lawrence on the Believe podcast. And shout out to the Believe podcast, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Go check out my dog, Carl Banks. But I like what Lou Mateo's putting down here, man. That's a good statement right there.
I agree, too.
Big shout out my dog, man. We appreciate you helping us raise the bar, Lou.
Big shout out to Kelvin Arzu with the $1.99 super chat. Says, we got the rookie of the years.
I love the plural there. I love that.
Does that mean like past tense, or does that mean offensively and defensively?
I think it means offensively and defensively, but I would pump the brakes a little bit on Abdul Carter. I mean, maybe there's nobody else that could really take it from him, but he's ramping up his play. The pressures are there. You just want to see him finish out these plays and get to the quarterback and see those sack numbers go up a little bit higher as well.
I saw a tweet from Adam Schefter quoting, or not necessarily quoting, but sharing a video from Pat McAfee, who's saying that the Indianapolis Colts might have the rookie of the year, the offensive player of the year, comeback player of the year, and coach of the year right now, and MVP possibly.
Tyler Warren is rookie.
I guess that would be. I didn't watch the clip, but it just, when I saw this, it made me think about it. Tyler Warren, maybe a rookie, offensive rookie player, rookie of the year.
Definitely possible.
Daniel Jones, the comeback player of the year, right?
Coming back to the starting lineup. Didn't they give it to Geno Smith that one year when he wasn't really coming back from nothing?
Because it's either comeback player of the year is like injury, or
I don't think they designated by any.
But they don't. But I'm just saying, normally it's like injury or like bad play or
That's why I brought up Geno, because it was like he wasn't coming back from anywhere. He's just starting and playing.
Daniel Jones is coming back from the dead. Let's just be perfectly honest.
Yeah, right? He's definitely coming back from the dead. That's for sure.
And I mean, the coach of the year,
just didn't get the opportunity in Minnesota to play either.
No.
And look at Minnesota now. they might have wanted to think that whole entire situation because they need a fucking quarterback.
Nah, listen, Dale Jones needs Jonathan Taylor. Okay,
You think so?
Hell yeah!
I think so,
Without Jonathan Taylor, those Indianapolis Colts are nowhere near where they are right now.
I'm so intrigued to see how this year finishes out for him because he's been in this situation before in 2022. When it got to the playoffs, he did win a game, but then when you got to the divisional against the Philadelphia Eagles, it just all went to shit. Yeah. So maybe as a veteran now, maybe learning from that a little bit possibly, and maybe at a second opportunity can maybe capitalize on it. But I still don't think they've really played anybody just yet. But I do think Minnesota's looking at Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones right now. Like, what the fuck were we doing? And now I'm hearing that Kevin O'Connell might possibly be a guy on the hot seat or some shit. So
that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll see. We
appreciate
shall see.
The super chat. Big shout out to my guy Leroy, aka Blood, Sweat, and Cell, with the $2 super chat. He's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Says great show, guys. Appreciate you, Leroy. Thank you as always, brother.
Definitely appreciate you, my dog. Appreciate you helping us raise the bar over here on Authentic and the Beard. All right, Beard, we're trying to keep this show nice and sweet and tight. You want to go first on your score?
I will go first.
All right, go ahead. You can handle it.
His legacy uniform. The Beard is going all legacy theme. Almost with Mike Tyson theme just now, the way I said legacy. Shout out Mike Tyson right back there. Listen, I'm going Go Jam again, okay? New York Giants at home. Jackson Dart legacy game. 20 New York Giants, San Francisco 49ers 17. Go get that W.
All right, so we talked about the score. I'm going to get to the score here, but this is the bottom line. We need a strong effort against the run. I want to see Brian Burns-like effort. I'm going to start to use that as a theme throughout the rest of this season because Brian Burns has just been kicking ass and taking names. He's got a sack in 7 of his last 8 games. He has a TFL in every game this year, and he leads the NFL tied with Myles Garrett for the most amount of quarterback sacks on the year with 10 sacks through 8 games. The Giants defense, we have to tackle better. They had 7 missed tackles last week in week 8, the most in the NFL. The Eagles had not 1, but 2 100-yard rushers against the New York Giants last week when they put up 276 fucking rushing yards on the ground. You talk about RTDB.
Take Bigsby. I looked at those and I was like, wait, what?
9 for 104? What? What is going on? But these two teams share some similarities. And I don't think that I said similarities, not like equal. It's not equal, right? But it's similarities. The 49ers are limited at the wide receiver position. So with that in return, if we can limit CMC and contain CMC, as the Beard said, I think it gives the New York Giants a chance to win this game because I think we have the better quarterback. You said 2017. I wrote it down before the show. I normally don't do that. I'm taking my New York Giants 23-17.
I was wondering if we were going to get the same score. I like it. It's a good opportunity.
I went a little bit higher because in the last 3 games, the New York Giants are top 10 in scoring in the NFL right now. So I think that we can continue the theme, even though we really don't got any weapons, and we're going to be questioning where these points going to come from. Likely going to come from Jackson Dart some way or another. We shall see. But let's get off.
Dart, it might have over 300 total yards in this game.
Possibly.
He's going to need it, and he's going to need 3 touchdowns, probably 2 rushing and 1
Just
passing.
Play some clean ball. Don't turn the ball over, Jackson. I think that's going to be super important in this game against the 49ers because I do think that they have the coaching advantage in this game. So we'll see how things go. But let's get off into your matchup. Seahawks traveling to Northwest Field, formerly known as FedEx Field, to take on your brutally banged up, injured Washington Commanders.
He's elevated an otherwise average roster, made him a viable Super Bowl contender.
We're not there yet, and that's why I think in the early part of the season that identity is formed not by what's called, but how you play. And I'm watching the how a lot.
You said for some reason with Jaden Daniels, the rookie rules don't apply.
All right, y'all. 5-2 Seattle Seahawks taking on the surprising 3-5 Washington Commanders. Kickoff is Sunday night at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Seahawks by 3.5. Over-unders at 46.5. Last week, Commanders lost to the Kansas City Chiefs on primetime Monday night. 28-7. Seahawks are coming in well-rested coming off of their Week 8 bye. This should be a very interesting matchup. A banged-up team versus a team that is well-rested. Last meeting, the Seattle Seahawks beat the Commanders 29-26 in November of 2023. This will be the first time that Seattle and Washington have met on Sunday Night Football. The home team has won the last 2 matchups in this rivalry, I guess you can call it. And with the win, the Washington Commanders will have 10 home wins over a 2-year span, which would be the most since 2015. Commanders are in another, I've been saying this every damn week, must-win spot.
They got to win one of these eventually. I guess they won against the Chargers.
Got to win one here. Already have 5 losses on the season, currently sitting in 13th place in the NFC conference. The Commanders' playoff chances went from, or they can increase from, 12 to 20% with the win. So this could kind of get you back in the mix. But if they lose, their chances fall all the way down to 7%. Seattle Seahawks are currently in first place right now in the NFC West at 5-2. The Commanders are coming in on a 3-game losing streak. And again, the injuries just not helping. The Beard talked about this a little bit at the top of the show with Lermy Tunsil and Johnny Newton, both dealing with injuries who did not practice this week, along with Von Miller, Matt Gay, and Zach Ertz. Shout out to Zach Ertz, man. Just shit the bed for me on my fantasy game on Monday night.
He was
Definitely
trying,
not a good look.
but he had some big drops, too, in that game.
Did have some big drops. I'm going to get to some numbers on him, too, a little bit later that shows that he's kind of still on pace for what he did last year. Terry McLaurin already ruled out with the groin, quad injury, whatever it is. Jaden Daniels' status for Week 9 against the Seahawks remains up in the air, and I don't think he's going to play, man. I went back and I looked at that tackle where he kind of tweaked the hammy again, and it just didn't look good. So it's looking like it might be Marcus Mariota again, who's definitely capable. 21 of 30 last week for 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, not by the fault of his own. He was the Commanders' leading rusher, which is actually embarrassing. 8 rushes for 28 yards. That's absolutely unacceptable for the team with the number 3 rushing attack in the NFL, averaging 137.8 rushing yards per game. It's not going to get any easier. Seattle Seahawks have the best rush defense in the NFL right now. Commanders running backs last week shit the bed, let me down in an extreme way. And just 11 attempts by the running backs. 20 as a team, 8 from Marcus Mariota and 1 from Deebo Samuel. Just 260 total yards of offense last week, man. That's JV right there. We got to find a way to clean that up. Seahawks offense, on the other hand, has been really good this year, and Sam Darnold has a big part to do with that. He's 10th in passing yards, 10th in completion percentage, 14th in passing touchdowns. Has only thrown 4 interceptions on the year. And before last week versus Houston, Sam Darnold had 4 straight games with a passer rating over 110. So he's balling. And whatever they're doing in Minnesota, it's definitely correcting these quarterbacks. It's definitely helping them out. We're talking about a guy that put up over 30 passing touchdowns last season and is definitely on pace to put up some similar numbers this year. He has had an interception in 2 of his last 3 games, though, and Washington will need some takeaways in this one. But we know Washington has struggled to create those takeaways this year on defense. But offensively for the Seattle Seahawks, it's all about JSN. Jackson Smith-Njigba is showing people why he is that first-round caliber wide receiver that we thought he was. And his rookie year was, very shaky underneath Shane Waldron as the offensive coordinator. And then when Shane Waldron went over to Chicago, I believe it was, JSN came out and said, basically, y'all getting that guy? That guy's fucking dookie. You going to find out why I was struggling. Right now, Jackson Smith-Njigba, at 23 years old, Beard, leads the NFL with 819 receiving yards. I want to say, I'm trying to remember this nugget off the top of my head, the only other wide receiver under 24 years old that had this many yards at this point in time of, being this young, under 24 years old, was Isaac Bruce, I believe. JSN is averaging 16.4 yards per reception, which is very different than what he was doing in that rookie season where he was catching a lot of short passes. He's had 5 100-yard games on the season and another game where he had 96 yards. JSN has at least 75 receiving yards in each of his 7 games this season. So when you're going out there and putting your money into that FanDuel account, definitely keep JSN in mind because that dude has been absolutely balling out. But I think what gives Washington a little bit of an opening in this game, even though the Seattle Seahawks offense has been so good this year, is that the Seattle Seahawks have not been able to run the ball well. They're 21st in rushing right now, only averaging 106.1 rushing yards per game. And Kenneth Walker leads them right now in rushing with just 430 yards on the season. So I don't know how Seattle's going to approach this game. Are they going to come out, just drop back, pass as much as they can, and try to stretch the field with this vertical offense? or if they're going to try to have a more balanced attack. I am favoring the Seattle Seahawks, but I want to see if you can possibly maybe take me off my rocker a little bit here and maybe convince me of a reasoning why the Washington Commanders can maybe come out here and win this game.
Legacy uniform?
I was going to say outside of the legacy uniform.
I'm going with legacy uniforms. That's number one
The
reason.
theme.
Listen. Jaden Daniels will play. Bookmark it. Okay,
I
Jaden
like
Daniels
that.
will
I like
play, and just like Jackson Dart, just like the New York Giants needed Jackson Dart
Bookmark
legacy
it.
game, Jaden Daniels legacy game.
Why are we so
Incoming.
confident that Jaden Daniels is going to play? Just curious. Gut feeling?
Gut feeling? I mean, he's practicing. You know, I think he might have been able to play last week. It's a low grade strain. They need him. He has to play this at home.
Season's on the line.
The fans have been waiting for the moment to see Jaden Daniels in true burgundy and gold. Okay, true burgundy and gold. It's going down Sunday night in front of the nation. All this Drake May, you should have drafted Drake May talk, and Bo Nix, and
It's crazy.
they got Jaden Daniels down to the right above Spencer Rattler, who just got benched as the all the way down there in that draft class. Jaden Daniels legacy game incoming. But look,
That's that box score watching, by the
Yeah,
way.
it's-
That's what that is, because they go back and people are a prisoner of the moment.
And
They're
I'm
like,
not
oh,
mad at
Jaden
that.
Daniels is hurt. He's not playing well. And now when I look at the stats don't really support that this is a great quarterback right now. But we've continued the theme with Jaden Daniels is that it don't matter if it's ugly, if it's pretty. He finds ways to win games and put up yards.
he's got 8 touchdowns and 1 interception. He barely played this year. I mean, he's the guy. The guy plays ball. He's a baller.
He's a baller.
Legacy game incoming, okay? Listen, outside of that, no Terry McLaurin. It hurts. I talked about he came back, and you instantly see the difference in the wide receiver play with Terry McLaurin.
Great catch on the sideline of the end zone, too, on a lollipop pass from Marcus Mariota.
I thought he was throwing that ball away, by the way.
I did, too. I think he thought he was throwing it away, too.
And then the insane one on the sideline. I don't know if you saw, as a photographer, somebody caught the down the sideline image of it, and he's like stretched out catching it, and you could see the gap in between his elbow out of bounds and his knee inbounds. It's a beautiful
There was a little
picture.
bit of luck that was involved in that one, but it was right on that point of that elbow, landed perfectly. It was a great catch.
So no Terry McLaurin. We're going back to Chris Brown, obviously, at wide receiver here. Listen, you talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba, number 1 in yards, obviously, in receiving yards, and you talked about the yards per catch. The dude is averaging a $117 per game, number 1 in the NFL also, okay?
Kicking
Another guy that's going to give us fits, though. Cooper Kupp, he's the second leading receiver, and I think he's only averaging like 40 yards a game or something like that. But a guy that you and I have talked about briefly at points during this year is A.J. Barner, okay?
He's on my fantasy team right now.
He's a guy that, because the Washington Commanders can't cover tight ends. It's like a thong on a big booty, okay? They can't cover
I was
it.
wondering where he's going down.
They can't cover tight ends, okay? So Barner's going to be a guy to keep your eye out on. The Washington Commanders, obviously, even though Marshawn Lattimore had a great interception last week, Jeremy Reeves was playing on fire last week. It's the same thing with the Giants. They're consistently inconsistent in that secondary. Second half, they just completely broke down. They're giving up the 7th most passing yards per game at 244 per game. Seattle Seahawks, offensively, too, they're tied for the second least sacks allowed, which you wouldn't really think about with a guy like Sam Darnold, because he's not a guy that you're going to see.
Semi-mobile-ish kind of.
Yeah, he's more of a statue-y guy, okay?
Yeah.
So they've only allowed 9 sacks all year long, okay? They also have the 6th highest passing touchdown percentage at 6.1%. 6.1% of the Seattle pass plays are resulting in touchdowns. So you're going to have to figure something out on that end. Washington, you talked about all the yards that they're still averaging in per game, with the 3rd best rushing offense in the league. The last 3 games, the Washington Commanders running backs have combined for a total of 164 rushing yards.
In the last 3 games.
Last 3 games.
Yeah, it's not good. And all 3
all
losses.
running backs. So, in all 3 of those games, what happened?
L.
We lost. We lost. Jeremy McNichols. I've talked about this last week. I need some more McNichols and Bill sets. I need some more McNichols in my life. That dude makes plays. He was our leading receiver last week.
You know what one of the issues is the up-tempo offense y'all run, right? Where y'all like to call the plays at the line, keeping the same personnel on the field. So when you see McNichols in, it's normally for a full drive. Same thing with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. But I agree. He deserves more touches. He was a back that I slept on a lot. Like, I didn't think he was a capable running back, and this year he's kind of proven that when he does get the touches, even though they're limited, he's maximizing his attempts.
He finds a way, and they're going to have to – Cliff Kingsbury, this is one thing that Cliff Kingsbury is really good at, and I think this is why Washington is so good at running the ball over the past 2 years. The creativity with the run plays. Mm-hmm. When he's in his bag, right? Now, there are some times where you're like, I don't know if that was the right call at the right time. And, like using Krosky-Merritt as a lead blocker for Marcus Mariota is not necessarily, ideal. But he needs to get creative against that run defense that's only allowing 75.7
especially
yards
with
per
y'all
game.
Predominantly playing out of the shotgun.
Yeah.
You got to get even more creative when your quarterback's not under center.
Yeah, that's going to be very important because, listen, Seattle is also 6th most sacks in the NFL with 23. They have the 3rd highest hurry percentage at 11.7.
Wait a minute. So wait, they're allowing the fewest sacks and they're 6th most sacks on defense?
Yep.
Man.
And it's not just the sacks, too. We like to talk about hurries and pressures because those alter plays. Yeah. And especially with a guy like Jaden Daniels, who this year has not been as in control at times when under pressure. And I think a lot of that has to do with the injuries and it has to do with the inconsistencies in the offensive line.
It's interesting because the offensive line has better personnel this year.
Yeah, it does.
That's the part that's interesting. But maybe it's a chemistry thing too.
And, a lot of that was early on in the year too. Then they made a lot of those changes after those first 2 weeks. And I think it's the chemistry is a big thing too because he hasn't played a lot with this offensive line. And it's not necessarily like they're consistently consistent. There are times when they look really good, and then there's times where they break down bad. Like last week, it was a miscommunication between the center and the right guard. It looked like everybody on the line was going left, and so I wasn't sure if it was Cosme or the right tackle, which at the time was was Brandon Coleman, I believe, and the guy just ran free rush at Marcus Mariota on a 3rd down. Like, stuff like that happens, and it's like even Jaden Daniels can't get away all the time from an open, untouched, guy coming up the middle because you coming up the middle untouched, and it's like if there's any sort of pressure on the outside, you're cooked. Right? Yeah. Like there's nothing you can do to get out of that. And they also have the 5th highest pressure rate at 26.9%. They also have the 7th best 3rd down defense at 35.6%. So this is Jaden Daniels, buddy. Like he is the key. He is the guy. This is a legacy game. You're in front of the nation. Everybody. It doesn't bother me, but it bothers a lot of. I'm just gonna be honest here, okay? A lot of the old white guys, okay, they don't like to see Jaden Daniels on the sideline smiling at any point. I don't know what it is, but it drives them crazy, right?
Yeah.
For me, I was listening to a Von Miller conversation yesterday on the radio, and he was talking about Jaden Daniels, and he was like, that's the thing that they asked him and said, do you have any idea if he's going to play or not? He's like, I have no idea because the guy is the same way if he's hobbling on one leg or if he's 100%. I don't know if the guy, and that's what they love about him. Players love about him, right? That ability to keep an even keel. And it's a different sort of even keel too. Some people have an even keel where it's no emotions at all. Jordan Love, right? Jordan Love that guy has no emotions at all, ever. Like, that guy is never smiles. He like, every time you look at Jordan Love, that's Jordan Love, right? Jaden Daniels just does it, but he does it with a smile, right?
More people need to talk about Jordan Love, man. He's very, very professional quarterback, and he's getting the job done at a high level right now.
He was a big Jordan Love guy.
Yeah, you were.
Day one, okay? Yeah. I saw a lot of Patrick Mahomes in Jordan Love in college. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't talk about he has a lot of arm angles, too. A lot of arm angles, powerful
Doesn't have to set the feet to get the velocity behind the ball. He plays the game risky like Patrick Mahomes, too.
Yeah, and listen, this this is going to be tough, but I have.
Are you going score?
We're ready to go on tour.
Are we still? Do we got a roadmap for today?
But we got a roadmap. It's ready.
Roadmap's ready. All right. I'll save a couple of my data nuggets for the roadmap or after the roadmap.
Okay.
Let's take this super chat before we go to the roadmap real quick, though. We got one more here from B-Rog.
Big shout out to B-Rog with a $10 super chat. Says, I always love how the beard brings the data to the conversation. I could create some amazing machine learning NFL prediction models with all the facts he brings.
Love
Cheers
that.
to you both. Listen, there was a point in time when Authentic and I were doing this show, and this is what it was. It was, look, we got to provide. We got to provide. Okay, so it's nuggets, it's the things like that, it's the little things, and it's easy to do a lot of deep diving and stuff like that, but sometimes you got to be able to find the data that provides the theme and provides what you're seeing and what you need to happen from your team to win, and we do it because we love it, and we appreciate the fact that you love it too, B-Rog. It means a lot to us.
Broke that down very, very, very precise, bro. I told Bobby the same thing the other day. He posted the stuff about Dexter Lawrence, and he supported it with tape as well. So you have data that supports the opinion that you have. And that's something that we always try to do over here, try to bring value. B-Rog, I really wish I could have been at that game at MetLife with you. I appreciate the gesture, my dog. Enjoy it. I hope we get the W, man. Just for the sake of y'all being there, you ain't the only one. A couple other fans hit me up too and were like they're going to be in the building. Hopefully we can come away with the W. But big shout out to B-Rog, man. B-Rog, I was saying this on the Giant Overreaction on Monday. B-Rog has probably been our biggest supporter during the 2025 season. And I was telling him how we, our gross, income from the YouTube channel this past week was one of our best months. And a big portion of that has to do with not only the grind we put in, but B-Rog being a huge supporter along with everybody else that helps us raise the bar over here with clicks, with likes, with subscribes, with super chats, with whatever it may be. So big shout out to the AATB family, man. Y'all keep this shit moving for real.
Absolutely.
All right, Beard. Speaking of keeping it moving, let's hit the road. The Beard's about to give us the Waze roadmap. Let's get it.
Yeah, you get on the freeway. What? No, turn right. Get out of the lane. No. Okay, get strategic. Just get out the lane.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the officially sponsored by Waze roadmap to victory for the Washington Commanders, and it's an easy one. It's going down Jaden Daniels Road on the highway to Northwest Field, FedEx Stadium, whatever, to get a victory, okay? Jaden Daniels is playing. This is all based on Jaden Daniels playing. I need Jaden Daniels to have a total
I need Jaden Daniels to play.
That's stop one. Stop two. 350 total yards of offense from Jaden Daniels. 350 total yards of offense from Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
Also, this is asking probably even more from this team. Mistake-free football. That means the turnovers, the penalties, the drop passes, the dummy dum-dums plays, all of that. You can't have any of it, okay?
No
you gotta be
dum-dums.
perfect football, okay? I know Halloween is on Friday, but that doesn't mean you gotta be a dum-dum, okay? Save those for the kids, all right? Up next, another pretty tall tale to ask here. Jackson Smith and Jigba, under 100 yards receiving. Under 100
happened in
yards
2 games
receiving.
this year. It can
2
happen.
games. We also have the worst pass defense in the league next to Dallas. You're going to need to score 30 points. There's no doubt about that. You're going to have to score 30 points. I'm going to need 30 points from the offense. Here's another key one. Over the last 3 games I mentioned, the running backs combined for a total of 164 yards. I'm going to need the running backs solely to go for $150 in this game.
$150?
$150 from the running backs in this game. You're gonna have to double up. Because listen, Jaden Daniels is probably gonna give you 75 to 100 if he's gonna get 350 plus
So we're
yards.
talking 250 on the ground. RTDB.
And the only way you can do that is is if you win the time of possession. If you do all of those things, you will win the time of possession. We've already talked about last week how Washington needs to win the time of possession in order to win football games with all of these injuries. That is probably the most important thing, because also you're able to keep that offense of Seattle's off of the field. So win the time of possession is the last stop on the roadmap to victory for the Washington Commanders.
Beard is not looking confident over there.
Legacy uniforms.
Legacy uniforms. All right, so before we do some scores, I just want to bring up a couple little points here. And speaking of points, the Commanders have to find a way to score some fucking points, Beard. Like, you got to score some points. In 3 of the 5 losses this year, the Commanders have scored over 21 points. So you got to score more points, because y'all are scoring over 20, which normally in the New York Giants case, we're going to win games scoring over 21. I think y'all need to breach that 27, 28 kind of mark if you want to be in this game. They are down to 23.4 points per game this season. Y'all were 28.8 in 2024. So it is a bit of a regression. We can point the finger at some of the injuries, but I do think teams having tape on y'all, second year QB regression or whatever the fuck people want to call it, some of that probably playing a little bit of a factor as well. And the Commanders over the last 3 games, granted, no Jaden Daniels in some of those games, 17.7 points per game. Got to find a way to score some points. And the big question is, where will those points come from? You're going up against the top rush defense in the league. Seattle's only allowing 19.4 points per game. I think it's going to be a lot of Zach Ertz. I really do. I think Zach Ertz is going to have to play a role, although he's banged up and not practicing and whatnot. He had 8 touchdowns last year, and he's on pace to do the exact same thing. He has 4 touchdowns through 8 games, and I think the biggest key missing from all the keys on the janitor ring is Terry McLaurin, man. Yeah. The production from McLaurin, you're talking 13 touchdowns last year. He played most of the games. To this year, he only has 1 touchdown. So he's only played 4 games, though, but it's just, where's that production going to come from? You got guys like McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, Chris Brown, which ain't even his name.
Robbie Chosen One.
Chosen One was on the practice squad. Are they going to elevate him, you think?
He got a couple of catches.
Oh, he played last week.
Not against Kansas City, but the week before that.
The week before
when
that.
They had no Debo and no Terry.
So we'll see. Maybe the Chosen One can find a way to add some points to the board here. But I think with no Terry McLaurin, it's going to be tough. I'll let you give out your score first. See where you're going with this one. It's legacy week. I'm not trying to fuck up your vibes.
Legacy week, okay. I went Trayvon Burke, maybe. Who knows? Legacy week. I picked the Giants in the legacy uniforms. Of course, I'm going to pick burgundy and gold at home in prime time. Jaden Daniels legacy game. Jaden Daniels will remind every single person in the world why he is great. I'm going to take the Washington Commanders 31, Seattle Seahawks 30.
A 1-point game. Okay. I like all the factors you brought up about Jaden Daniels possibly playing. So if he plays, I'm going to rock with you on the legacy vibes this week. And I think the Washington Commanders get a 1-point victory as well. I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to go, what did you go, 30?
31-30.
I'm going to go 34-33 in favor of the Washington Commanders.
There we go.
Should be a nice little week here. We did get one more super chat here.
Big shout out to Luis R with the $1.99 super chat. The Yankees lose. You guys think the long holdout is why Terry is hurt? Listen, to me, like, there's so many variables that go into it. Could that be a possibility? Could it play a part? Absolutely. I mean, football is a crazy thing, like, where you have to train and, missing all that camp and everything like that has happened. But he could have played in all of camp and preseason and everything and then had the same injury, right?
Yeah, that's a fact, man. Football is a physical sport, man. People get hurt. And, Luis, I did see the DM. I did not respond to the DM. I'm not trying to lose more money. So the CMC over 150. Going to have to, unfortunately, decline on that bet because that seems like house money at this point, and I don't want to give you more money. So we're going to decline that bet. But shout out to Luis, man. He's slowly but surely giving me my $50 back that I lost to him on the Amarion Hampton 150 scrimmage yards bet that we did early on this year. And in exchange for a New York Giants victory, it's good money spent. But shout out to my dog, man. We appreciate you helping us raise the bar, my G.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is everybody's favorite time of the show. It's time for the human soundboard and rapid fire. The Dallas Cowboys, who are 3-4-1, they are 2.5-point favorites, which seems a little bit disrespectful. I thought they were heading to Arizona. The graphic says they're in Dallas.
Arizona, maybe I'm wrong.
Arizona is 2-5. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday Night Football. Over under 53.5. Authentic. Tell me what you got.
I just got a text from Maryland University. I got to let them know I need my credentials. Hold on.
I will let Authentic handle the credential.
Right, I got it. We good. This is what I got. George Pickens balling out. Third in receiving yards right now. CeeDee Lamb's getting healthy. 7 receptions last week, 74 yards in a loss to the Denver Broncos. Dak Prescott is playing some really good football right now, arguably MVP level. I wouldn't quite go there. We've been here before. Cardinals defense does not frighten me. The Cowboys are one of 3 teams in the history of the NFL with 40 or more points in each of their first 3 home games in a season. The only other 2 teams to do that were the St. Louis Rams and the 1973 Dallas Cowboys. Cardinals defense doesn't scare me. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys in this one. I think they cover. I didn't hear the over-under, but I'm going to take the over because that offense is just extremely, highly potent.
Well, it is in Dallas, so shout out to the graphics department. Listen, I don't even know what the Arizona Cardinals have done this year. Bam Knight is like their RB1 right now, former New York Jet, I believe. I don't know if it's Bam Knight or Zonovan Knight. Maybe Zonovan changed his name to Bam, or if it's 2 different people. But
I'm going to guess Bam.
So we're going Bam and Brissett.
I don't know about the we. I might be wrong, but
Bam and Brissett. I guess I'm going to take Dak and the Cowboys. It doesn't matter how bad the Cowboys defense is. I don't foresee. If the Cowboys lose this game, there's some problems out there. I don't foresee that happening.
They're in 10th place right now. That's the crazy part about this Dallas Cowboys team. Like, they've struggled, but that tie is kind of keeping them alive.
I think the Cardinals are the only team that are below the Commanders, if I'm not mistaken.
They're just above y'all. They're just above y'all.
The Cardinals are above us?
Yeah, because I think they've played 1 less game.
No,
the
Cardinals
only 2
Cardinals
the teams that are behind y'all are the New York Giants, the Saints,
and the Cardinals.
Because y'all are 13th, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right, so give me Dallas Cowboys 27, Arizona Cardinals 23.
That's kind of low scoring for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they put up 44 on y'all head just a couple of weeks ago.
Thanks for the reminder. We'll be back on Christmas. Catch me outside.
Catch me outside.
Up next is Thursday Night Football on Authentic's favorite thing in the world outside of Authentic and the Beard, Prime Vision.
Damn right.
Lamar Jackson makes his return. The Baltimore Ravens are both of these teams are 2-5. I don't know. The Miami Dolphins are 2-6. They stink. I don't know what's going on here. I'm a big Tua guy. I don't know. I have no answers for the Dolphins. I don't know why the Dolphins are the Dolphins this year. The Baltimore Ravens, they at least have an excuse. They didn't have Lamar Jackson, right, for a lot of this. The Baltimore Ravens are a whopping 7.5-point favorite on the road in South Beach. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The over-under is a whopping 51.5. Listen, Lamar Jackson is back. I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens. Give me the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens' defense is not very good either. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens 27-20.
Okay, I like your score there. To me, it's a little bit tough to pick this one with the way that the Dolphins bounced back last week. Like, they really handled business against the Falcons. Ravens got their first win without Lamar, 30-16.
Shout out Snoop.
Against the Bears, which the Bears are a pretty good team. The Bears had won 4 straight games, I think, before that.
Yeah, well, listen, the Bears are the NFL is drunk. They're consistently inconsistent.
It's been like that this year. It really has. Not only is Lamar Jackson healthy, but this is the first week in a long time that all 53 men on their roster practice this week. So they're getting healthy at the right time. Maybe not the right time. Maybe at the last minute that they need it. Because I think the Ravens could make a run. I think it has to start tonight. 2-5. You know, their next 5 opponents are combined 11-28. So they're going through an easier portion of their schedule. And you talked about prime vision. Yeah, I think they can get there. A couple of wins in a row, you know, you get back to 5. It reminds me of the Buffalo Bills of last season. Remember how they started off?
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot like that. And if there's anybody that can do it, I think it's Lamar Jackson. Prime time, Lamar Jackson on Amazon Prime, in prime vision, maybe in the prime of his career. Prime for a W.
He's going to be drinking prime on the sideline.
I'm going Lamar Jackson here, man. I like your score. I'll stick with your score. And the spread was 7.5?
Yeah.
So we got the Dolphins covering.
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right. Make sure you
don't
guys
like
check
it.
us
I know
out.
you don't like it. He's like, shit.
Make sure you guys check us out on Twitter at Tim Walk on Water 2 at Authentic. We will be dropping this week's Thursday Night Football same game parlay presented by Authentic and the Beard. Last week, let me tell you, Dwayne Justin Herbert, every time they got to like the 30-yard line, Justin Herbert was taking off, and I'm like, is this going to happen? We're going to get the Justin Herbert touchdown?
That close, bro.
Oh, my God.
I saw him go out of bounds to like the 3-yard line. I was just like, we're right there, bro. We're right there, man. Unfortunately, fell short, though.
Yeah, so make sure you guys check us out on Twitter. We will be dropping that same game parlay here in a couple hours.
Absolutely, man. Big shout out to the gang, man. We appreciate all y'all pulling up, rocking out with us today. Had to kind of cut this show a little bit short today. Got a couple of obligations to handle here at the end of the day here, but definitely big salute to all of y'all, man. The support that y'all been showing us over the last couple of months here in the 2025 season, man. It's been amazing watching this this once super small channel, small corner of the internet starting to expand just a little bit more is it's amazing. And wouldn't have it any other way to be up here with my brother, the Beard, talking ball, man, and you know, just the rivalries that we have. Can't wait till we get a little bit of revenge against you guys later on in the season too, man. Should be an interesting time. We'll see how things go. Beard, any last words before we get up out of here?
No, I just big shout out to everybody in chat. We appreciate all the love and all the support. We would not be able to do this if it was not for each and every one of you guys, and you guys are absolute rock stars. Big shout out to Authentic. Authentic is doing so much. It's a lot on his plate, and I appreciate everything that he does. So big shout out to everybody.
Thank you, bro. Wouldn't have it any other way, man. It does not feel like work. And even when the Giants aren't playing that well, still very enjoyable to come up here and talk ball with so many New York Giants fans. It's just really amazing. But y'all know how we end every show over here on Authentic and the Beard. And Ben Ayers says Kyler Murray might be back tonight. And if that's the case, might change things up a little bit there. But y'all know how we end every show, man. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. And a life without dreams is a life in black and white. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT and New York legend, Combat Jack. And that is a wrap, y'all. We will catch y'all on Monday for the Giant Overreaction. Make sure to pull up on Bleacher Report on Sunday when we do the immediate reaction to the conclusion of the New York Giants game coming up against the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday, man. Again, we cannot thank y'all enough. Salute to everybody in the chat. Y'all enjoy y'all night. Enjoy your Thursday night football. Best of luck in your fantasy leagues. I'm in a little bit of struggle mode right now, but we trying to get right, man. We trying to get right. So we'll see y'all at some point or another, before the weekend ends. And if not, we'll see y'all on the Giant Overreaction on Monday. We will catch y'all on the flip. Y'all be easy, man. Peace.